and everything. He's a neighbor next door has a goal, so.
But yeah, you want to talk about scandal? That's those CMYSA leagues or the youth association leagues getting competitive against one each other, and then this one starts another. Holy cow! You thought the government shutdown was scandalous?
Here's the thing. I got some more parent talk here. I think there's a give and take. There is nuance. I can see both sides. But there are some parents that are over the top on calling out their kids when they make a mistake on the court. Like, I am more of the, and I realize I am so different from so many sports parents. But I'm more on the line, along the lines of more encouragement. Like, if he whiffs the ball or misses something, or I've got one that gets angry and aggressive, and I'm like, settle, if he gets his chicken wing out there a little too much or slide tackles into a dude's ankle. I'm like, hey, that's not great, And I'm a little more, what I'm trying to say is some of these parents are like, hey, did you not eat your breakfast this morning? Hey, what was that? Hey, get off your A. Like, every single time they mess up, like, I'm not saying you can't call that out as a parent. Like, 100% do that. I am like 60-40, 60 of it positive, 40 of it like more direct instruction. The other 60 is like, that's okay. You're good. Like, I'm like 60-40 positive, negative. Some of these parents are 100% negative, and it's every single time. Like, every single time my kid makes a mistake, I don't say something every single time. But it amazes me, these parents that do every single one and every single time is negative. There's not a single time they're like, hey, fix that. You'll get it. You'll get it next time. That's okay. Like, especially, and I feel like in soccer, this is the worst. If a team is running up the score on you and your kid's the goalie, like, every time he misses one, like, you can't be just called right.
Yeah, no, you're 100%
you know
right.
You know the parents I'm talking about.
I know 100%. I got a story for this.
Okay.
So this past week we played.
We're turning into the youth sports podcast.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, you just said it's ending for you, so it won't be on the
that's true.
run sheet. So last week we played in our playoff, whatever, and this is coach pitch baseball, so 8U. The team that we were playing was undefeated, and we're not a bunch of athletes on our team. I'll say that. We try really hard. We're here for a good time, and none of us are gonna go play Major League Baseball. So we're playing, and we've gotten a lot better. Like, every week, some kid makes a play that he couldn't have made the week before. So, like, we're progressing. Every week, our kids are upset when we lose. They're happy when we win.
Right.
But by the time we get out of the dugout, it's over. Like, for most of them. Like, my son takes it a little bit harder than there's sprinkled in there some kids that are really upset. But we're playing this team, and they have this in soccer too, because I've seen it, but exactly what I'm talking about. There are 7 coaches in the dugout.
Yeah.
They're dressed from head to toe.
Oh, yeah.
In the uniform. One guy had on stirrups this week.
A coach.
Oh,
no.
This is 8U baseball. Okay.
Ian Kinsler wore those, right?
Yeah. So, also, though, I think there were 12 teams in the league, and we were number 7. Okay, so they're ranked number 1. We're ranked number 7. We had to beat somebody to play them, and they got a first-round bye.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to beat us. Like, it's supposed to be
right,
not even close. Well, we come out, we score 5 runs right off the top, which they made some errors, but they're 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
One kid airmailed the ball across the field, which happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they get mad at the first baseman. They're screaming and hollering and stuff like that. Game comes around. We end up losing. They did not run rule us, which was a big deal for us. We were not run ruled in any inning. We got 3 outs in every single inning. And I come up, and our kids none of them are crying. They're really happy that we scored. I think we scored like 9 runs. We ended up losing like 16-9 or something like that. And there's a kid walking from the opposing team across the field, and he's crying because, like, they won. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I know why. And that, I'm assuming it was his dad, is yelling at him, berating him the entire time. And it's not like you need to intervene as like another dad,
Right.
but it's just like, why'd you make that mistake? Why'd you throw it there? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? Constantly questioning him.
Mhm.
And like this kid was playing third base and he was making great plays for an 8-year-old, like in an 8-year game. 15 minutes passes, we clean the dugout, we're walking out, and he is walking in front of us and he's still crying because he knows what's about to happen when he gets into the car.
Mhm.
And so like I just, and I see it all the time when you get to the high school level and you all of a sudden see the kid who has quote unquote loved the sport for so long, and then all of a sudden they just stop playing
Yeah.
and they're just tired of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we're at in our youth sports, is like, if it's not competitive, like I'm talking about like you're paying a lot of money.
Right.
And I'm not talking about hundreds of dollars. I'm not even talking about, a few thousand. I'm talking if you're not paying tens of thousands of dollars, which I have done and I have been in those tournaments, then you need to make sure your kid's having fun at the end of the day. Like we want to win. But I just think that a lot of times the parents are living vicariously through their kids because either they couldn't play, like their parents couldn't afford to play, or they just weren't very good themselves.
I was going to say that exact same thing. I think there's a direct connection with the parent who lives vicariously through their kids for either one of the reasons, or they're older now and they can't play baseball anymore, like at a competitive level.
Yeah.
And the ones who talk to their kids that way. That and select and club ball is such a status symbol. And I don't know if it's this way everywhere in the country.
It's definitely the way in the South.
Definitely that way here. So, and it's like your kid just getting on a club team, that's not enough. What club team did they get on? And then what level in that club did they get on? And it's such a status symbol where, like, it's almost like having I'm going to say Mercedes, but I would never own a Mercedes. I just don't like them. But it's like having a Mercedes in the driveway.
Yeah.
If your kid's on a top club ball team.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, the people and parents who have more money to spend many times can get there. I feel like you've got to have money to spend to be able to get to that top level. If not for just the coaches' fees and the club fees, but just the travel fees. Like if your kid's on a national team and you're going to Mississippi, you're going to Vegas, you're going to the Midwest, like you're getting on airplanes with your family. Like there's some costs there. And
that's what I'm saying, tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes. Yeah. To do this. And I feel like, and plus the extra training that they can pay for their kids, but it's almost like for the parents, like that's my investment out there more than my kids playing sports. That's like we talked about in the fall.
Yep.
Not the fall. It was early in the spring. Yeah. It was like Aprilish, May. And my oldest made one of the club teams. But we started sensing like he just wasn't really into it. Like he would go to the practices and he would practice, but he didn't seem to be enjoying it like he did when he played rec. And so
because it's not his buddies.
Before I wrote that several $1,000 check and signed the contract on July 1, we just had a very frank conversation with him and over a few days because he's younger. And turns out he just wanted to go play with his friends.
Right.
And I was like, that's great. You have the talent and the skill to make a club ball team. But at the end of the day, doing this for you means you just want to go play with your friends. Okay. Let's go do that.
Yeah. I just think too, like,
and he's having a blast.
People don't talk to their kids. That's part of the problem too. Is like,
well, I feel like there's a lot of parents who think we're stupid for making that decision. It'd be like, what? Your kid made a club team and you didn't take him? And he's not on a club team? No. Like,
let me give you a little pointer too. I think we talked a little bit about this when I've been in those club. I mean, not soccer, but I've been around the game of baseball. Tournament teams.
Definitely volleyball.
Like, it gets to a certain level where you're competing with kids that you can't compete with anymore, and it doesn't have anything to do with your skill. It has everything to do with you can't coach height, you can't coach strength.
Yeah.
Like you can make your kid as strong as you want, but if like in volleyball, if you're playing front row and you're not over 6 foot, like you're probably not going to go play Division I volleyball.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't go play somewhere, but like the likelihood of you doing that is very slim. So you want to at least, if you're trying to run that rat race, at least make it a good experience for them.
Right.
Like when our oldest decided she wasn't going to play anymore, we were like, okay, well, we're not paying all that money, but her and her mom got to travel quite a bit, and that's experiences that you're never going to get back.
Sure.
So that's what I took it as, is like, okay, well, we're going to try to do this, and if you make it, great. If you don't, then we'll try. At least you had great experiences with your mom. So. But like, I'm gonna go ahead and hop down before we do a little sports talks, because sports talk's gonna be super short this week. Being a school teacher, something I don't think they train you for, and I put this on the run sheet, is help your kids with their demons. Don't run from it. Face it. Like 3 experiences in the last week for me. I can't go into a whole lot of detail because it's still, some of it hasn't come out, but is like, I've been around kids long enough to know when they're facing something and they're being hurt by that. And and instead of just with the school's help and the professional help, the parents just take their kid and run.
Mm-hmm.
And it catches up every single time. And it's sad because it's like, I know what's about to happen. Like I can tell you exactly what's going to happen if you don't do this. And like you can even have conversations with their parents, with them, and every single time, I haven't been wrong. And like I want to be wrong about this. Like I want to be wrong about the outcome that's coming. I want to be wrong about what's going to happen, and yet every single time, I'm not. And so it's hard because it's like, man, parents, face it. Like as hard as it is, as hard as whatever the situation you're handling, I promise you it's going to be way better now if you handle it now and get it over with.
Yeah.
Than what you're going to be facing down the road, because it's going to be way worse.
Without giving too much away, can you give background or insight on like the...
So I'll tell you, I can't tell you about these 2.
Like specific.
I can't tell you about the ones from this week. But I can tell you about one that happened when I was at a different district. So we had this kid, and he was just unhinged. I mean, behavioral wise, he had some terrible traumatic incidents happen to him. And we call a meeting with his mom and his dad. They were separated, various reasons why. I don't even remember why. But like our principal was very frank. Like he said, like I've seen this before. If you don't handle this, he's going to either end up in jail or dead. Mm-hmm. Like right in front of his mom, right in front of his dad, right in front of him. And they unenrolled him. He had done something that had gotten him in some trouble. I don't remember exactly what he did. He was constantly in and out of trouble. And this was around 18-ish. It was around like 2015. So it was about 10 years ago. And 2 years ago, I saw his name in the obituary. Mm. And like I thought about that meeting. And it's like every time something like that happens, I think, man, could I have done something different?
Yeah.
Is something I said, could I have said something differently? Could I have approached it differently to maybe reach that kid, to maybe they would have changed their life? And the outcome was exactly how I thought. And I can think of at least 10 off the top of my head. Yeah. And I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting, because some of them are just so tragic that you just try to put them in the back of your memory, and occasionally they pop up. But like, man, it's been with some of the, and it's not like big news. Like you wouldn't see it on Facebook or something like that. You know what I mean? So if you're not involved in those conversations, but man, like, like raising kids, you see when they make mistakes. Yeah. You see whenever that is. And if you don't get in front of it, if you just kind of sweep it under the rug, it gets bigger. And then the next issue is bigger. And then if you sweep that under the rug, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's just from experience. Like I don't have a degree in psychology or parenting or whatever that is, but I've been around kids long enough to know, and you can see it. Right. Like anybody who's been in education, I'm sure your wife tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Because my wife, even in elementary, you can see it at that age too.
Right. She has stories on both sides. You know, you've got the ones who, like you say, ran, and then you hear about them later on in a not great ending or not great status. And then you have the ones like she'll run into at a football game that are now in high school because she teaches middle school.
Right.
Who are just like bright-eyed and, you know, approaching life great, had a good student.
Right. And to be clear, most of the outcomes are that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of them are that way. And like
she'll say like it's hilarious. She'll be like, you know, I'll be with her, and so like it's gonna be like, hey, this is brother, you know, all this kind of stuff, and like everything she's doing and everything looks great, and I'll be like, and my opinion is I don't know this kid, I don't know their background, anything.
Right.
My wife does,
Right.
you know, like she shouldn't tell me about all of them, right? And if she did, I wouldn't remember anyway. So I don't know who this kid is, or if they've just been a straight A wonderful student the whole time, and then you know we'll walk away, and she'll be like, well, she is doing a lot better because when she was in my class, you know, she was a challenge, you know, and then it's like, well, that's awesome, you know.
Yeah.
You got to high school and something clicked. Middle school's a fun time.
There's a special place in heaven for special education teachers and middle school teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I did my time there. I could go back and do it, but man, I don't know why I didn't get to high school quicker.
Well, even like raising middle school kids, which you've raised a couple. I've got a couple, one leaving 8th grade this year and a senior. And like, you know, she's like, oh, this person said I'm weird. I'm like, all of y'all are weird.
Yeah, you're all weird.
Yeah. Yes, you are weird. And your friends are weird. And I could point out 10 different things about why all of you are weird. Like, it's middle school.
You're supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
That's why it's called the middle.
Yeah. It's just, you know.
I had a middle school. When I taught middle school, I had this guy, his name was Johnny Wells. He's a great like mentor of teachers, but also like mentor of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so he told us one time we were sitting at the lunch table. He was like, you know what the job of a middle school teacher is? Just not mess them up. Yeah. He was like, no one remembers the middle school teacher. Yeah. Everyone recognizes the high school teacher and the elementary teacher. How many of the teachers get recognized that are middle school? And I was like, you know what? He's right.
Yeah.
Just don't mess them up.
Yeah.
And just keep them on a straight and narrow path. And if you can do that, then you're all right.
That's what I try to tell my middle schooler now. You know, things like that. I'm like, don't worry about any of that. What people say, who your friends are. I was like, I give her, thankfully she has an older sister. I can give her an example. I'm like, your older sister's best friend in middle school, they went to high school, and my daughter went off and did dance. That one went off and played soccer. They never really talked after that.
Right.
She found her group, you know, that person found their group. I was like, don't put so much stock into this thing. Go to class. Do what you're supposed to do. Be kind to people. Let's call it a day.
Yep.
You know?
Well, and also, like, that's the thing, too, man. You got to talk to your kids. You've got to have conversations with your kids. And you can't, I mean, we're not saying anything that anybody hasn't already said, but it's like, don't let the internet raise your kids. I'm not saying don't ever let them get on the internet, because that's not good either, because as soon as they get on it, it's a, you know, like a whole other issue. But this is not a parenting podcast.
It's not.
Just two dads with a little bit of
dads
experience.
With some experience. 9 kids between us.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of kids. It's a big table.